All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Delano Allen. I'm a member of Face to Face Films, and today I'll be interviewing Anthony Laura, the writer, director, and producer of the upcoming play Shadows. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Del. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
Well, today I just have a list of questions for you if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to know a little bit more about the show. So the first question that I have is, what or who inspired the story for Shadows?
So the story started a while ago. I wrote it at the end of 2021. And part of it comes from just some loss that I've faced in my own life with people with cancer. And and I've been working. Girl with the Red Hair was the first part of the Memory trilogy. So I wanted to further start to explore memory. And that's when I started doing some research and discovered early onset.
All right, thank you. The second question I have is, why did you feel that this was an important story to tell?
Well, first of all, with early onset, I think a majority of people are familiar with it being about 55 and over. And the research that we found is that early onset can begin as early as 30, and it affects primarily more women, which is also what Alzheimer's does. And so by talking about that while linking it with glioblastoma, um, which is a form of brain cancer, we were able to kind of talk about these signs that I think a lot of people who are in their 30s, um, they may not see these signs because they are just simple things we see every day.
All right. Well, very general question. What is Shadows about? Just in a nutshell.
Yeah, so Shadows is about Lindsay Cooper, who's making a comeback while dealing with her girlfriend having a tragic illness. Um, so overall, it's about the artistic process and just kind of how creativity itself can put us into, I think, a place of complacency sometimes.
All right. Well, thank you. So this is a second play in your trilogy series regarding memories. Why did you decide to make this series?
So, starting with Girl with the Red Hair, which was a very personal play, um, I'm really, really fascinated, especially in theater when it comes to memory. Um, and by setting it with Girl with the Red Hair was set in a psychiatric hospital, so there was a lot that we were playing with fantasy versus reality. And then kind of grounding that more into the love story in Shadows of what happens when we lose the memory of some of the most important parts in our lives. I think it's something that um, is a really, really devastating thing to look at. So I'm really interested to see how by putting these three plays side by side, memory takes on different meanings.
And can you just list those three plays in order so everyone can know what they are?
Sure. So first is Girl with the Red Hair. The second is Shadows, and then next year will be Duality.
All right. So, as we just said, last fall you did the girl with the red hair. In the play, our protagonist for Shadows, Lindsay, is mentioned. Is there a correlation?
Yes. So all of the plays exist in the same world, and that we'll see more of that next year with Duality. So I started by um, talking about Lindsay having been released from a mental institution, and then we mention Haley in this show, and there's a lot of correlations. Next year, as an example, um, some characters are coming back for the third iteration that were in Shadows as well.
All right. So in this play, Lindsay, played by Katia Mendoza, and Jessa, played by Alexandra Rooney, also played characters in Girl with Red Hair. Was this an intentional decision to recast them in different roles?
No, I don't think it was intentional. I just liked working with those actors. Um, and Katya also in the workshop, she had played a different role, so she was Ariana. And but I had written the play before I knew Katya, but I had written the Jessa for Alexandra originally.
All right. Um, so why is music important to this show and how is it special?
So the first part of it is that Lindsay is a singer, and music has been all they've known pretty much their whole lives, her and her sister Ariana. And of course making the comeback with Jessa, who is a pop singer. So Rose Hart, who is our songwriter, who also wrote songs for Girl with the Red Hair, um, we started work very early trying to craft these songs around the story. Um, not only so the lyrics had specific meaning, but so that we were establishing what these themes were that we wanted to carry through our trilogy as well. So despite any of the struggles that are happening in the play, I think music is very important to particularly Lindsay and Ariana and Jessa.
All right. So is there a reason why you rarely have any male characters in your plays?
No, no, not really. I just tend to like writing female characters, and I've seen several works that I've enjoyed um, that have had solely female casts. They've been some of my favorites. Um, so I just write what I like to watch.
All right. And as a man, why do you feel qualified to tell stories about women?
So I was raised primarily by women. Um, my mother, my grandmother, her sisters. And I think what I was exposed to, just in terms of growing up, I always grew up with more of a female sensitivity. Um, so qualified, I don't know, but I do feel connected to these stories and find that I'm just writing about people in my life that I've known as opposed to thinking about it from a gender perspective.
All right. Well said. Thank you. And just a final question for everyone. When and where can I see the show?
So the show opens at ART New York, which is on 53rd Street in Manhattan on December 1st. And we run for 18 performances until the 16th.
All right. Well, thank you, Anthony, for this interview. If you guys out there want any more information on Shadows, please visit shadowsofplay.com for updates.
Wonderful. Thank you, Del.